Florida taking a major step on campus safety. A new law allowing universities to crack down on students linked to terrorist organizations, including expulsion and loss of funding. The move comes as protests nationwide have raised serious questions about where free speech ends and national security begins. Joining me now from Campus Reform is Campus Reform reporter Emily Sturge. Emily, great to see you. A lot to get to, but I want to start with this new law out of Florida. With this new law that is now in effect, does this finally give universities the tools they need to deal with extremism on campus, or are the schools really still hesitating to act? What can you tell us?
Schools now have a legal obligation to act here and report some of these terror threats to the proper law enforcement agencies, whether it's the State Department or the Department of Homeland Security, instead of handling this situation internally. And look, the Sunshine State is once again the common sense state, because what this legislation essentially does, it tells universities, well, you can't use taxpayer dollars to support or subsidize foreign or domestic terrorist groups on university campuses. It tells university students, well, you can't recruit your friends to ISIS or Hamas or Antifa and expect a taxpayer-funded diploma in the state of Florida, as well as state grants or financial aid. Those things could be taken away, and the student could be expelled if linked to terrorist activity. I say it's a very common sense piece of legislation, pro-safety, pro-American student. Florida is certainly acting like a leader here, and I expect red states, I think Texas will be the next, to follow suit and pass similar legislation.
Yeah, Emily, I know that you've covered these protests up close. Many Americans have watched images of just the chaos, the intimidation, violence, really, and even open support for these extremist groups. At what point, Emily, does this stop being a matter of free speech and really become a real national security concern?
Absolutely. So we've reported for years and years, even before the conflict that we're in with Iran, we've reported for years at the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform that Iran was actually behind encouraging and funding some of the pro-Hamas intimidation and harassment that's been taking place on our university campuses. And you bring up a great point. Where does free speech end here? This legislation actually isn't about speech. It's not about controversial opinions, which are, of course, covered by the First Amendment. No, we're talking about major national security concerns here. We're talking about actions. We're talking about promoting material on university campuses, encouraging violence, encouraging recruiting individuals to some of these terrorist groups. And that's the harsh reality of what's actually happening on some university campuses. Just last month, we saw at Old Dominion University an individual there who's reported to be an enrolled student. Well, he opened fire on the university campus and killed an ROTC instructor. That individual had known ties to ISIS. And now a law like this could potentially prevent horrific tragedies before they even occur.
Yeah, I want to turn now, Emily, to this media moment, if you will. The legacy media still pushing claims about the president and Iran. And now, at least Stefanik, she is firing back. And it happened during a heated exchange with CNN's Jake Tapper. Take a look.
He wasn't calling for genocide.
Your entire civilization
it was targeted
will die.
towards the Iranian terrorist regime.
All right.
It was targeted
Agree to
towards the Iranian
disagree.
terrorist regime.
Agree to disagree. The book
CNN. This is typical CNN.
Okay.
If you want to compare the President of the United States to the university presidents who failed to call for the condemnation of calling for the genocide of Jews, that's on you, Jake. The world saw how morally equivocating those university presidents were. Yes, you're the one that is it's not a comparison. So if you want to make
asking you if you have the same standard
CNN,
for somebody.
that is not the comparison. Of course, genocide is bad across the board, Jake. President Trump effectively brought the Iranians to the table.
All right, Emily, so much I could say about this, especially the way Jake Tapper acted, but your take on this, your reaction.
This sounds like a typical exchange between somebody with common sense and some of the agitators or protesters that we would see on a university campus. And on Campus Reform, we get out and we interview protesters. And look, a lot of the time, they don't even know what they're standing for. They don't even know what they're protesting for. And I do want to point out that when we're talking about all of this terrorism taking place on our university campuses, I want to say that not only has Florida taken a great approach at this, but the federal government itself. I mean, we've reported how the State Department has revoked student visas from foreign nationals who chant death to America on our university campuses. I encourage the Department of Justice to go ahead and continue investigating more of these individuals who are intimidating and harassing, using violence against American students. And I look forward to the Department of Education cutting or freezing federal funding that's going to some of these universities that are promoting death to America in university classrooms. This absolutely should not be happening in our American education system. But the Trump administration has done a fantastic job of identifying the problem and providing solutions just within the first year of this administration.
Yeah, and Emily, you guys at Campus Reform are all over it, really exposing the light on all of this. Thank you so much for what you do. Great to see you.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for having me.